We used to live in a big house in the Blue Ridge Mountains where we grew up without anything strange happening. But whenever we went to visit Grandma's house nearby, weird stuff would happen to my sister. She said that at night, after we all went to sleep, she'd feel a slap on her stomach waking her up. At first, she thought it was me and came to my room to check. But when she saw I was fast asleep, she got scared, so I let her sleep in my room for the night. Once, we were playing outside and it was getting dark. I told my sister I needed to go inside to use the bathroom and would be back soon. She said, "Okay." But when I came back, I found her on the ground screaming and crying. She told me she saw me coming out of the house, running towards her and punching her in the face. She said I then ran around the corner of the house. When she followed me, she saw something scary. It was a tall creature, about 7 feet tall, wearing a black robe. She said she got really scared and couldn't move as it looked at her with glowing eyes in the dark. Then it screamed horribly, and when she blinked, it vanished. After that, she fell to the ground where I found her. She told our grandma what happened, but our grandma thought my sister was just pretending. 2 days later, around 10:30 in the morning, my grandma came running to our house, screaming. She said that the night before, while she was making brownies in the kitchen, she heard knocking at the front door around 8 p.m. Feeling scared, she went to check but found nobody there. She thought it might be a kid from the neighborhood, so she didn't worry. But later, while she was in the kitchen, she saw a small man walking from the living room towards the stairs, just out of the corner of her eye. She got scared, but then she thought maybe she was imagining it. She stayed awake until 3 a.m., which she often did. But around 10 a.m., she felt her blanket being pulled off while she was in bed. When she looked, she saw a little man smiling at the end of her bed. She was really scared, so she left the house and came to us right away. After that, she sold the house. Last night, I woke up to find my girlfriend crawling on the walls, begging me for help. She came to her senses again, with blood dripping from her nose and eyes. Every night she pleads with me to save her because I'm the only one who can. By morning, her pleading stops and she returns to normal. I came to this town 3 months ago to help people. Ever since I was a child, that's all I wanted to do. I grew up in church, attending every service and getting close to God. When it was my turn to take up my own calling, I became an evangelist, traveling from town to town, bringing people to God. Then I received a call for help from this small church town in the middle of nowhere. Strange things were happening to the young women here, and no one else wanted to come, so I did. Melissa was there to meet me when I arrived. She was a worship leader at the local church, the first line of defense against bad spirits. Over the next few days, we discovered demons had taken over the town, possessing young women. Together, we fought them off, and as the problem lessened, we fell in love. But one night, tragedy struck the town when several girls took their own lives. The horror continued when my girlfriend started exhibiting strange behavior. It wasn't until an intense prayer session that she confessed she was the main demon, the one who started it all. Now I face a dilemma. I love the demon possessing her more than anyone else, even as it causes suffering in the town. Each night, my girlfriend pleads for help, but I'm unsure if I can save her from the demon within. This story is about my grandma's true experience. My grandma lived in a house near Vihari when my mom was little. One day, while my grandma was in her room, she called her maid, let's say Fatima, many times. After calling her a couple of times, Fatima finally came. My grandma asked her to find her shoes. After a little while, Fatima came back, put the shoes on the floor, and left without saying anything. My grandma felt something strange about it, but didn't pay much attention. Later, she figured out that Fatima had been off for a few days, and the lady who showed up wasn't really her. She was pretending to be her. Now, let me tell you about something that happened to me when I was 6 or 7 years old. First, let me describe the house. It was pretty big, about 8 to 9 canals, and it was in the village. The house was old, maybe about 30 years old. Behind the house, there was a garden in one corner, then some plain brick walls, a storage area, and a messy kitchen. After that, there was an open courtyard for doing laundry. All of this was outside. It was late at night, maybe around 11 p.m. to midnight. My mom and aunt were walking together towards the garden, while I was going towards the storage area and the messy kitchen. As I walked, there was only a small light bulb outside the messy kitchen. I saw a tall, skinny, dark figure in the courtyard. It wasn't wearing any clothes, and because it was so dark, I could only see its shape. This thing was probably about 6.5 to 8 feet tall. I thought it was a man because of its shape. I knew it wasn't any of my family because they weren't that tall, and none of the servants were either. I stood there for about 30 seconds, shocked, unable to make a sound or scream. Then I quickly came back to my senses and ran to my mother, telling her to take me inside right away. I wasn't screaming, just being careful. When we went inside, the light in the courtyard was gone. I didn't talk about this experience with anyone until I was about 10, around 3 years later. I remember not being able to figure out what that thing's intentions were. I didn't share this experience with anyone until I was about 10, 3 years later. I couldn't understand what that thing wanted, but now I never go there at night. Every night, I say some prayers, and whenever I go out at night, I say prayers too. Thank you for reading my story. Which story did you like the most? We value your opinion in comment section. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.